Hi everybody, my name is Adriana and I'm going to be talking to you today about how to write fairy tales. Just so you know my background, I do have a bachelor's and a master's degree in writing. So this is my thing and I am excited to be able to share it with you the entirety of the summer. Alright, so there are 6 steps to writing a fairy tale. Okay? The first thing you want to think of is a moral. A moral is a principle that differentiates right from wrong. Okay, so the first thing we want to think of is a moral. So the example I'm going to be using is Frozen because that is my favorite. So what's a possible moral from Frozen? Think about it. Okay. The biggest morals from Frozen is familial love, which is love between family members, as being true love, rather than the typical romantic love between 2 partners. So we have familial love, and then we have individuality. So family love, okay, and individuality. Okay. The moral is what is really going to drive the story and get you to your conclusion. The entire story is going to be focused on explaining that moral. So it's a really important aspect to have. Okay? Our next is the hero. So for Frozen, the hero is going to be Elsa, Anna, and then we do have Kristoff. He's a side hero in this, but I do think it is important that we mention him. Okay, and then our villain is going to be Hans. All right, so every fairy tale needs a good hero that you can really get behind and root for. And then they also need a villain who is trying to destroy them, stop them from achieving a goal, and stand in the way. It also kind of shows the opposite of the moral that you're trying to get across. So, he doesn't really have family love, and he's not really concerned with what makes individuals special. He wants people to fear Elsa for her magic instead of embrace it, and so he goes against both the morals in Frozen. Okay, that's what a good villain is going to do. Another thing to mention about Hans is that he is not obviously evil. Not at the beginning. At the beginning, we see a guy who is a prince, and he is accepting of Anna, and he is, pays her attention, and, we don't know that he's trying to sneak into her life and wreak havoc. We don't know that. So he's not obviously evil, and I think those are the best kinds of villains because they are much more real. If we could tell that they're obviously evil from the beginning, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, I hate that person, or I don't like that person's evil, they're trying to destroy us. When they're not obviously evil, they actually can impact the hero more, and I do like that. Okay. The next aspect that we have is a magical element. The magical element here is Elsa's ice powers. Okay? And usually the magical element will have something to do with the moral, to either help or hinder. So for Elsa, her ice power is what kept her away from her family, especially her sister, and it is also what kept her away from embracing herself because she was so terrified of it. She grew up to be scared of it. She didn't grow up embracing her difference. She tried to hide it wearing the gloves, and so we see that this magical element impacts the moral greatly. All right, next is setting. It's the Kingdom of Arendelle. And we do have the Ice Palace that we are at for a short time. So in this case, the setting is, we're in summer, which is also important. Seasons are included in the setting. You really want to describe the weather of where you're at. You want to be able to describe not just the castle, but any outlying villages, like they do with the troll habitat and everything else. So there's a lot that goes into setting. It's not just a place or the main place where the story is being taken. It is the kingdom and any other kingdoms that are associated. Okay. And then finally, our happily ever after. So you always want your hero to accomplish their goal, and you want them to push the moral of the story out at the end, and you want your villain to fail, okay? Because these are typically geared towards children. We do want happily ever afters, but fairy tales normally do have happily ever afters, so that's just an important aspect of how to write a fairy tale. Okay. For our happily ever after for Frozen, Elsa embraces her powers. She learns that she's not a monster and that she can use and control her powers and use them for good. She also learns that Anna loves her no matter what, and that family connection is restored where it had once been broken. Okay? And then we also get Anna and Kristoff in their romance, which makes me happy. I like that Elsa was not given a romantic partner, because I do feel like with her struggle with family and individuality, she was not in a place to have a relationship with somebody. And I like that Kristoff helped Anna realize her worth and realize that her sister did love her. Things were just complicated. I also like that Kristoff was a hero, more so in Frozen 2. But even in Frozen 1, he is essential in getting Anna to Elsa and in restoring that family connection. So he is a very important part of the story, which is why I included him as a hero. So there you have it. That is how you write a fairy tale. I hope that you are able to take this and write your own fairy tale. If you do, please post it and tag our Facebook page. We would love to see what you've written. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I will see you next Friday for another How to Write.